Okay. And then, let's see, I'm going to do this. I'm going to write something called my string copy. And I'm going to write something called my string length. So this one's easy. Well, it's not easy. I'm sorry. I don't mean to say it's easy. It's easy if you're familiar with C and pointers and changing around pointers and so on. But I want to show it. So here's a length of 0 while actually I'm going to do this. What do we think of that? So we're doing something that's weird, which is we're taking a pointer and we're incrementing it. Let me write one that you might like better first. I'm sorry, I can start somewhere even different. How's that? Do people like that one? Okay, so let's see if it works. Okay, now by the way, do you see this little trick I did here? I'm doing a quote, because see, if I did this, what I want is when I print this thing, I want it to be in quotes. If there's spaces or tabs or weird stuff, I want to see it. But if I were to just put in quotes, then printf is going to think that I am ending this argument. But if I say, no, I mean the character quote, I can do that and I can put quotes around what I'm printing. So let's try it. Four. Good. Right? That is the length of that string. So let's look at the code again. We set the length to 0, said while we don't find the null character at some index, increment the index, and we return it. Okay, so now I want to go back to the one. This is cool. I am taking a pointer and I'm saying increment the location. I was pointing at location 0x7FFF AB28, and if S is this and I do S++, then S becomes that. So I'm just having it point to a different location, one location over. Okay? By the way, this will be talked about more in Tuesday's lectures. I want to mention C is really smart. Well, but if you have an int pointer, because this is a car pointer, if you have an int pointer and x is equal to, I don't know why I have an s in there, some different address, and you say x++, it actually does that. Did I get it right? B. So it actually knows the types, and if you say I want to go one character ahead, it's 1 byte because that's the size of the character. If you want to go 1 integer ahead, it goes forward 4 bytes, so it knows. Okay? So it's good for you to understand all the addresses, but as a programmer, you find that you can just start doing stuff like this, and C will know the types and figure it out for you. It knows the context. So we talked about there's addresses that are absolute addresses. I live at 123 Main Street. I live at 0x7FFFF whatever. But there's also relative addresses. I live 1 to the left, 1 to the right, +1, -1, plus, minus. And in fact, if you really want to take the analogy, maybe characters are where you live in the apartment complex, and plus is 1 apartment to the right. Maybe integers is 1 block to the right. You know, it understands that context. Jarrett? So in this case, this syntax is not, S has a location, and then there are bits in that location. And by doing plus, it's changing those bits to point to a different location. So S, our variable S stays in the same place, but when we say plus, it's incrementing the bits, so it points to a different location. Simon?
How does the pointer know that it's pointing to an int or a character?
Aha, because we declared it as car star S. And this is actually super important. You know, it's not like Python. We are declaring the types, and from those types, C is actually generating the right code underneath the covers based on those types and its knowledge of the types. So if we had said int star S and we did S++, it would have jumped 4 bytes over instead of 1 byte over. Okay, I think we can get this down to like way less code. So there's something else that will be in the YouTube lecture that we haven't discussed, which is car star S. This declares a pointer, but you can use the asterisk in another context. So if you have a pointer like S, and later you want to get the value at that pointer, I did that, right? Saying, okay, well, it's pointing to an array. What's the value at S0? You actually can use the asterisk like that as well. And that says, get me the value of the location you're pointing at. Okay? So it's confusing because the asterisk is used as a pointer, and it's also used as the so-called dereference operator. And the dereference operator says, get me the value at that location. So we can go up here and change that to that. And this should still work. Still says 4. We could do this. What do folks think of that? Here's the original location. Keep incrementing S, and then just return the difference between the two. I think that should give us a 4 as well. Okay. Yeah, Nathan?
So when you set a pointer equal to another pointer, is there the risk of like aliasing, like
Yeah.
list?
Yeah, so aliasing's not a concept in C, but let's be really clear on what's going on here. Somewhere in the stack, and so the stack starts at 7 FFFF whatever, and it goes down. When you start looking at heap addresses, they're going to be something like a 1000, right? And so somewhere in here, stuff, more stuff, there's going to be an S, and this will take 8 bytes. And then when we declare a ridge, this is going to take another 8 bytes. And the value of these 8 bytes will be the same as the value of S when we entered the function. And so let's just put in a value. Maybe the value of this at the beginning is 0x, I don't know, 40, that. And so it's going to be that same thing. And then when we start incrementing s, it'll become 1, and then 2, and then 3, and then 4. And when we come and subtract these, well, the difference between these two locations is 4. Now let me say, the difference between these two locations, this is not that. It's not 4 hex, right? It is 4. But, and this is and this is again in the lectures that you'll watch on YouTube. If these were integers, if this was an integer, and this was an integer, and this has a value of 4,000,004, and that's a 0, the difference between this now is 4 bytes, but 4 bytes is one integer, so it would actually return 1. So when you do pointer math, pointer subtraction, it's telling you how many ints apart is it? How many characters apart is it? So the difference between two pointers is not a hexadecimal address, it's whatever the type is, how many apart are they? So for characters it would be 4, for ints it would be 1. This is very important for Project 2D. And I encourage you for 2D to actually write programs and do print statements and just confirm that you've got it right. Okay, I'm going to stop this video.